Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, episode number 20 in our Let's Play series of this game. And in today's video we are picking up in the middle of a battle that we started in our last episode. Effectively we're fighting, I think it's Culpeper Courthouse, but it's kind of on the left flank of the Rappahannock line in an effort to secure the flank of the Union position as we continue to attempt to wear the Confederacy down and perhaps drive on Richmond. This area has been a thorn in our side, with multiple Union armies being defeated by concentrated Confederate forces, which outnumber them. And I decided I'm going to move my division here, and I'm going to do what the AI has not been able to do. I'm going to win a battle here, secure the flank, and allow the other AI forces an easier time of it advancing on Richmond, and perhaps follow that victory up on our own as well. That being said, we're outnumbered almost 3-1. It's 2.5 to 1 in terms of manpower. We do have several regiments that have very high quality weapons. We fought off a flank attack on the right flank. The rebels are massing on our left flank while still having a considerable force on our right flank. So not only are we outnumbered 2.5 to 1, but it looks like the enemy's pushing for a double envelopment. And I don't care how good your weapons are, that's tricky when you're outnumbered this heavily. That being said, we'll see how it plays out. Catch you guys at the end. Let's jump right back into this thing and see how things shape up. Right. Put Moore's boys into this fence line here. I'm assuming this wall of musketry should be more than sufficient to stop a lone probing rebel regiment. But we've got 3 or 4 regiments moving on our right flank again. And a lot of the force I did deploy to hold that flank has withdrawn. They're still inflicting. Alright, so our repeating regiments are in the fight now. 16th New York also in the fight. 18th New York also in the fight. I can't imagine this initial rebel advance will do much. They may be shifting to this kind of gap in our position here a little bit. Well, those guys, 2nd Florida, came out of nowhere, out of this wood line, so that's a bit concerning. I don't know if I can get enough troops to hold this line if they're going to shift a bunch against that weakened position. Got at least 1 regiment. We got 2 regiments in reserve here. Now let's... Oh, they're going to push. We're also much further away from my own character, so the command is going to be a bit skewed here. Remember, they outnumber us like 2.5 to 1, so... Regiments stacked up over here on the right. Some of them have at least taken some casualties. '39th New York is engaged with the 2nd Florida. Looks like we're losing more men than they are. '6 Louisiana is getting shredded right now for what it's worth, but the enemy is coming in echelon almost on this flank here. 27th Georgia, can't tell if they're actually shooting at me or not, but 39th New York is trying to hold out here. trying to move into the flank of their advance here. 6 Louisiana's going to probably break. They've lost a quarter of their men, but they did pin a considerable number of our troops in place. We're going to shift troops as we can. Barry's got regiments coming to his aid. Meanwhile, a considerable rebel assault is forming up on our right flank now. Our troops are somewhat in the open here. I do not know where this cavalry is going. Appear to just be detachments. Maybe trying to find a gap in our line, which there definitely are gaps there. Oh boy. The double quick, boys. All right, we've got mounting enemy forces. Our skirmishers are firing into the enemy flank. Meanwhile, on the right, this enemy attack has come up. It does not seem to be breaking through at the moment. Extreme flank near the objective here is holding for the moment. I guess if they break over here on our right, the objective's over here, so may or may not matter as much, but they got a whole bunch more troops over here in this wood line coming, so... Virginia. Casualties are evening out a bit. We are not getting the same huge advantage on the casualty ratios as we had originally. 39th New York is doing especially important yeoman work holding this position. The 8th New York has also come up and is now supporting. They're all engaging more than one corresponding regiment, though. We've now routed 8 enemy regiments and inflicted almost 800 prestige worth of casualties. Make that 9 enemy regiments as this one just fled. I'm going to bring up the 29th New York here to fire into the flank of the 12th South Carolina as we try and bring more and more support to bear. 31st New York still kind of out there on an island a bit. Hopefully the smallest enemy force is this one here near our center, because I've got a nice big ass gap in that line. I will not hold there for long. Meanwhile, I don't know how much longer the 39th can hold. Gonna advance out of the entrenchments here, trying to hit the 49th. Charge. All right, nice. Just routed the enemy lead regiment here. We're gonna try and launch our own counterattack a bit. Maybe we can break the morale of more enemy troops and get things going in our advantage if we advance out of these defensive positions, get a little bit more aggressive. Maybe hit some of these units who have seen their brethren break. 39th York is really my worry here. Okay, boys. Hang in there. 17th Mass is coming to your aid. Slowly. Enemies stacking up on the flank. This artillery over here, the 4th, doing important work to sort of secure the extreme flank in support of the 23rd Massachusetts. Units running low on ammo are stacking up. Large enemy advance on the right flank also. 17th Massachusetts is now in the fight. Not quite on the defensive line that I want them to be on, but they are on the fight nonetheless. And while we're trying to hit the head of the enemy column here. These 2 regiments advancing out of the trenches. I keep saying trenches. I know they're not. What I need is for Ferry's regiment to stay in the fight, but to have the pressure lifted off them somewhat. I am not able to do that. I could order them to withdraw or to fall back, which might have that effect, but I suspect that would actually be a very detrimental thing, because if they start falling back, they'll probably just instantly rout. That's usually how the game works when you try and retreat under fire. Meanwhile, the 4th New Hampshire is taking some casualties here, trying to pour the fire into the flank of the enemy units coming up. The 7th Arkansas, for example, is here engaged with the 23rd Mass. All these units are in the open now. They are firing into the flank at close range of these boys. So, hopefully they're doing God's work here. The enemy is stacking up for a massed assault on our right flank as well. Shifting my troops around a bit. They've also got more troops out here to the front. This is just a scenario of being very heavily outnumbered, and that is a problem. The enemy came at us a bit piecemeal early on. That's sort of rectified itself a bit, but we're just doing everything we can to hold in place. Casualties are now 700 on our end, 2,400 on the enemy end. And it's not even 10 o'clock yet. Also, given the enemy has fairly experienced units in this fight, that is going to play into the reluctance of enemy units to retreat. Davies Brigade or Regiment is getting shredded a bit here. Flank. They have not focused most of their fire on these 5 guns here on the flank, which continue to pour fire into the 7th Arkansas in support of the 23rd Mass. I think there's some glitch here, because it says these guys are inflicting casualties, but I don't see smoke coming off them. I was hoping maybe moving the 8th New York out of the breastworks there would maybe take some of the pressure off of the 39th New York. Shift some of the enemy fire. Doesn't really seem to be doing that. 2 more regiments moving in over here. Again, we have moved out of the open, or out of the breastworks and into the open, which is causing our casualty rate to go up, but enemy's lost almost 3,000 men. We've lost about 800. We're up to 12 enemy regiments that have routed at any one time so far in this battle. If the battle were to end now, it would be a minor victory, but obviously the battle is not going to end now at the moment. More and more enemy regiments pouring forth out of the Black Gate, out of the cursed land of Mordor known as the Confederacy. No, don't charge. Just fight. Alright, it looks like the fire's come off of Ferry's regiment, so that's good. Third mass is holding still. That's got to be canister ammo here on the lower right that they're very low on. Again, we keep seeing these ammo icons pull up on the right, and basically that just means, hey guys, we're screwed. We're running out of bullets. 8th South Carolina forming up on our flank. 7th Louisiana maybe will rout. But again, when you, this is one of those battles that if this was early on in the war, my guess is this battle would already be over based on the sheer number of routed regiments. But when you fight later in the war and units' experience levels are much higher and they're more willing to stand there and fight, that reduces the impact of each individual unit routing on the overall morale of the army. If the enemy's had that many units rout and they've only got a -6 victory, or -0.6 for its victory points. Now maybe some of those routed units have since rallied. I don't know. Those two units on the right have lost almost 50% casualties. Or, no, a third. 300 of 900. 600 remain. Alright, boys. I think, at least temporarily, that breastwork line is holding. Seventh Arkansas is coming forward again. Jesus. 23rd Mass is low on ammo. The enemy's gonna charge into him, perhaps? I think they'd be exhausted by now. Point blank volley. I thought they were gonna melee, but I'm uneasy ordering a melee either myself because I fear what the impact will be if we fail. Okay. just firing there, so we are actually going to order these guys to melee. 2 regiments coming forward here on the 21st. The 21st has 300 men. We've got 1,300 men converging on their position. Maybe we can force a full enemy regiment to surrender and then have a bigger impact on the morale. I don't know. They're retreating. But even now, they're forming up, you know, quadruple my number on this flank, and this cavalry regiment's not going to hold for long. This has to be the main body of the enemy troop. I don't think we're going to hold out for much longer. That flank's going to break. We've almost inflicted triple the number of casualties on them than they us, but they've got 2.5 times our manpower, so. Right there, that artillery routes. We got a nice chunk of prestige even if we lose this battle, but getting my division shredded was not really in my wish list. We're holding on by our teeth on this flank. I feel like the only real hope for us at this point is that the enemy morale is so toasted that they just get a cascade of routes of not too badly hurt units. That can definitely happen if the army morale drops enough. But I don't think that's likely. I mean, their morale is only barely lower than ours, and our units haven't started to rout. Once ours start routing, I think it's more likely to go the other direction. The 17th or 19th Connecticut, I ordered them to melee this rebel regiment, but the rebels are much fresher than they. They do outnumber the enemy by about 200. Too goddamn close. They're stacking up another regiment over here. th Maine is in trouble. Oh, 38 casualties inflicted? Was that a cavalry charge? Without mounted troops? I guess charge there too, right? Like 22 more? I wonder if the Spencer is a tremendous melee weapon just because of the sheer volume of its fire. They're routing. They broke, but they are inflicting incredible casualties on the enemy. Did they just all die? Well, they wiped out that cavalry unit of ours. Disintegrated. 640 men surrendered to the enemy. Jesus. Well, that's not good. Just like that, the morale is from an advantage on our side to pretty much even. I don't know that there's any way to salvage this. My best hope, I think, is to withdraw in the night, but we are nowhere near nightfall. They've just got too many men, and we're pretty much engaged everywhere along the line. We've got one or two regiments that are slightly less engaged, but they've, you know, they've been engaged so heavily. Meanwhile, on this flank, again, the enemy's still pushing. We've still got most of our regiments here fighting. So it does look like the 16th New York is still around. Hanging in there. Minor defeat now. Casualties because of that surrender dramatically changed, and now the enemy has almost got a major victory on us. Despite losing more men than us. Also, that sucks, because I lose a regiment that had Spencers. And the enemy captures the damn weapons, too. Maybe not if they don't hold the field. But no, they still get something, so... Now the enemy morale is better than ours. Still, we've routed almost, what is that, 10, 6, 17? Enemy regiments routed 17 times. Oh, there goes another one of our regiments here on the flank. 70th Pennsylvania. There's just too many damn rebs. Look at all those casualties lost, and yet 4,000 taken, 4,000 casualties taken, 2,500 for us. I think I can... I don't know that I'll be able to inflict enough casualties on them to consider this a major... Why is my artillery all the way out there? Did I don't think I ordered to do that. This is probably dumb to order them into a melee, but 18th New York was in trouble. Okay, get my fucking division annihilated here. Oh, those guys have Henrys. Jesus. I forgot I gave one of my infantry regiments Henrys as they melt away into nothingness. They're definitely inflicting incredibly heavy losses on the enemy, but there's just too many enemy troops. Alright, at least they shouldn't evaporate into nothingness. They're routing, but they're not being wiped out. And the cascade has begun. Another route there. I don't know that there's anything I can do at this point. I am ordering the 17th Mass onto this fence line. Let's see if we can disentangle ourselves with some of these units and get them back. I don't know that I have enough troops left to put up a defense, but we can maybe pull some of these boys back to that trench line, or not that trench line, but that fence line. Maybe we can put up a new defensive. Also, is there meleeing going on? There is. I did not order it, but the 23rd Mass has been engaged by the enemy. And driven back with more than 50% casualties. Looks like the enemy is launching a close-in assault here on the other flank. And we're routing over there too. There you go, defeat. I don't have to worry about holding the line, because that won't happen. Morale of the army's in the toilet. It's going to be a major defeat, which may defame me, despite the fact that we're going to inflict more losses on the enemy than they on us. Anyway, whatever. Our boys are going to rout from the field. I'm just going to accelerate it. There's not much I can do to salvage the situation. That whole battle started so well. It went so bad. I suppose advancing out of this defensive position was a bad decision, but I also don't think it would have made much of a difference. Maybe it would have slowed the pace of the defeat. You can see here we still gained 2,300 prestige. We gained 375 from routs, 2,100 from casualties inflicted. The enemy did rout 9 of our units. Almost 4,000 infantry, 400 cavalry, 5 guns, 4,400 total enemy losses. We lost 3,200 men, about 1,000 cavalry with Spencers. Let's see if we're defamed. I was feeling real good and then real bad when we saw that left flank get more and more and more and more enemy troops. That was a bad sign. So Madison Courthouse is the quagmire of Virginia, where Union armies go win battles but then lose battles, and then win battles and then lose battles. And I thought maybe yours truly could change change our fate, but apparently not. Also, major battles have a much bigger impact on morale, which kind of sucks, because if we had won that, we could have moved the enemy much closer to surrender, and instead now the opposite probably happens. I'm still famous. I'm not defamed yet. I'd rather you withdraw north. I don't know why we withdrew there. Apparently other Union armies won a battle at Staunton, which is nice. But we're going to withdraw. What can I do? So, like, it's June. My prestige is at 8,700, which ain't bad. I can promote myself at a cost of 2,400. That'll give me about 6,000 to play with. Now, I don't know, last time around we looked at what we could do from an army command point of view. Like, what could we take command of? We did see that taking command of, like, the Army of Northeastern Virginia and the 59,000 men would cost... Wait, what? Oh, no, that's just transfer. Would cost 15,000 prestige. I'm assuming if I'm a lieutenant general, that would get much cheaper because I'd outrank them, maybe, but I don't know that that's true, which makes me nervous because, like, it'd be kind of silly. I don't think they could keep me as a lieutenant general in command of a division. Maybe I'd become a corps commander. Maybe. I just don't know. Maybe we just take the plunge. We're far enough into this series. Maybe we just take the plunge and see what happens. With that being said, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. This seems like a logical stopping point, and then we'll see what happens in our next time. Until the next time, however, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching yet another episode of Grand Tactician, the Civil War. This has been the Historical Gamer saying, until next time, I'm out.